With the new set of regulations of 2026 and established, reimagined and newly formed teams being part of this season's grid, I think right now is an opportune time to have an in-depth look at each team and rank how I think they will perform and where I believe they will place in this year's F1 World Constructors Championship. To preface, I'm filming this video on the 9th of February, so the only bits and pieces we've seen so far have been the livery reveals and of course the Barcelona shakedown. There's still upcoming testing that starts this week, but I'm jumping the gun and putting my predictions out there beforehand. There's a lot of excitement around Cadillac joining the grid, and I think their driver lineup makes a lot of sense. Both Bottas and Perez add a huge wealth of experience, with over 500 F1 starts between the pair. They will be one of the most experienced driver duos on the grid this upcoming season. They will be able to help the junior team bed into the sport, providing crucial feedback on the car, and with the new regs in place, I don't think there's anyone better suited Cadillac could have realistically signed. Although, even with two of the best number 2s in recent history, I can't see the team having much in terms of actual performance. 2026 is likely all about building a foundation for Cadillac, something the team can add to in the upcoming seasons to eventually challenge for points. Another positive from the limited amount we've seen so far would be the fact that Ferrari will be supplying their power unit until 2029, at which point they will make the switch to General Motors. Perhaps not as confident as the next team, which have opted to supply their own engine. Not exactly a brand new team, but the reimagining of what was formerly Sauber, Alfa Romeo, and whatever that green monstrosity was that we had to see on the grid for the last couple of seasons. We were all made aware of Audi taking over Sauber's place on the grid back in August 2022, and I was overwhelmingly excited for one of the most iconic car brands to join Formula 1, this being the first time they would be part of the sport since Audi's predecessor, Auto Union, contested in pre-Formula 1 motor racing between 1935 to 1939. There are a few reasons why I believe Audi will finish above Cadillac, one being that they've already had a few years to prep and build ready for the new regulations. And I expect Audi would have had a peek behind the curtain when it came to visibility of the changes to the 2026 car. Their drivers have also already had a year together in 2025, and they were competitive in their head-to-head last season. Hülkenberg edging Bortoleto 12-11 in races, whereas Bortoleto got the better of the German in qualifying, also 12-11. But of course, Nico outscored Gabriel 51 points to 19. That magical moment in Silverstone pulling a lot of the weight, with Hülkenberg finally scoring a podium in his 239th race start. The downsides and what could cost Audi would be the fact that they're still a new outfit. They're using their own power unit, which leaves us asking some questions, mainly how reliable will their power unit be. I'm hoping we will see all of the teams being competitive this year. I think it's fair to say that Alpine is an absolute circus, and the fact that the decrepit Flavio Briatore is pulling all the strings there doesn't give me confidence in their chances. Franco Colapinto is a big question mark. His initial stint at Williams in 2024 was very promising, albeit a bit crash happy. 2025 was a lot less impressive, leaving a lot to be desired as he finished P20 in the driver's standings, blanking completely and scored a big fat 0 points. There are a few positives to take from the team though. Gasly being their number 1 driver is massive. I think he's a quality driver for midfield teams and has proven that he can get the most out of the shitbox on many occasions. His most impressive feat last year being that he made 10 Q3 appearances. That's only one less than Sainz and one more than his former teammate Yuki Tsunoda managed in the Red Bull. Alpine has also switched to a Mercedes power unit, and from what we've all seen and heard so far, that seems to be the front runner in power suppliers for 2026. This could go either way though, as I expect there will be a period of time where they need to adapt to the new power unit and get the most out of the performance it should be able to give them. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gasly scoring points at a reasonable rate and doing well in qualifying. I would be shocked if Colapinto is still in the second seat by the time we get to the summer. A team that surprised everyone last season. An incredible rookie year for Isaac Hadjar, which included a Zandvoort podium and a 12th place finish in the driver's standing, which of course has led to his demotion to the Red Bulls. Good luck, Isaac. You're gonna. Hopefully now that the toxic Marco and Horner are out of the sport, Hadjar will have a better environment to develop. Their driver lineup this year is not as exciting in my opinion. Lindblad being the only rookie on the grid, it will be very interesting to see if he sinks or swims. The more experienced driver in the team being Liam Lawson, which I can almost guarantee that he crashes into Perez in Australia, renewing their rivalry from a few years. Red Bull Ford will be supplying the power unit, another unknown when it comes to being able to predict what that's going to provide the team with in terms of performance. It wouldn't shock me if RB finished below Alpine, but I'm putting RB ahead to finish 8th, as I could see Lawson having a decent seat in Lindblad could be a surprise pack, and I expect he'll do better than Colapinto. Possibly the first pick that could be controversial. I think everyone's expectation of Williams for the season ahead has done a 180 in the last couple of weeks. Not showing up to the Barcelona shakedown has raised alarms with a lot of supporters, and I'm not surprised as historically, when teams have missed pre-season testing, they've not fared well during the season, especially with all the branding changes. Had Williams made an appearance in Bath, I probably would have predicted them 2 or even 3 positions higher, but because of their shortcomings, I'm going for 7th place. Their driver lineup is far too strong for me to drop them lower than that. Sainz finishing on the podium twice last season was unprecedented. The team's first podium since the infamous 2021 Belgian Grand Prix. Both drivers had mixed seasons in 2025, Albon being much better in the first half and dropping off, whereas Sainz took some time to adapt to his new team before finally getting the better of his teammate and producing some amazing results. I would expect Sainz to get the better of Albon again in 2026. Can't see the team getting much out of the car until later in the season. This will likely surprise a few as being too high of a placement, but I think they've shown a lot of maturity as a team, especially since Komatsu took over as team principal in 2024. They also have one of the most promising drivers on the grid in Oliver Bearman, who looks to race for Ferrari at some point. I'll go more into the liveries in a different video, but I do want to confess that I'm a big fan of how the Haas looks this year. Toyota coming on as their title sponsor, both making the livery and boosting the rep of the team, raising them to their highest of heights in terms of being able to get sponsors and put more funding into the team. For Haas to achieve what I believe they can, Ocon is going to need to have a much better season this time around. His first season was poor. Komatsu even coming out to the press recently to say as much. To no one's surprise. Although I'm not an admirer of the driver, we have seen him get the better of some teammates in the past, specifically Sergio Perez during their time together in Force India. All in all, if Ocon steps up his game and Bearman continues his trajectory, then I can see Haas scoring points on the regular and achieving a mid-table finish. Now we start to get to the harder decisions. There has been a rollercoaster of emotion in terms of what we can expect from Aston Martin this year. They've got one of the greatest drivers all time, and Alonso, Adrian Newey to design the car and now to be their team principal for some reason, and they talked a big game before Barcelona, but then the car broke down 5 laps in. Like I said, a rollercoaster of emotions. It's a tough task to understand what we're going to get out of Aston Martin, with Newey now coming out recently to the media to state that they're not quite sure how the car is going to perform, citing that they had 4 months less than the rest of the grid due to delays with their wind tunnel. This has left a lot of fans feeling deflated already. Perhaps they may have been crown champions the last 2 years in a row, but I'm going with McLaren to finish last out of the big 4. Piastri good, Zach Brown bad, Norris annoying next. We are witnessing potentially the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time in their prime years. Granted, his domination may never come close to the 2023 season again. Hopefully not, in all honesty, because it was a bore and led to us all treating P2 as the new P1. Max Verstappen is almost unstoppable. I do believe that Red Bull will have a decent car this season, so Max is bound to win at least a handful of races. And if he's up there challenging, then there's no way Red Bull aren't towards the top of the Constructors too. Hadja settled in as well as a rookie could last year, but he was given the comfort of being at a team with much lower expectations and a reputation for bedding in young drivers before Red Bull eventually chew the majority of them up and split them out. Big positive is 2 of the older white guys departing in Horner and Marco. Laura Mecchi seems to be a great character, and I think the harmony around the team will be a much better foundation for Isaac to bed into and perform. I'm going as far to say that I think the second seat curse ends this year and Hadja helps Max to get Red Bull 3rd in the championship, but I'd still expect Verstappen to dominate the head-to-head stats. P2 for my beloved Ferrari. As much of a mess as they are, I will always love the chaos, and being a Man United fan as well, this last decade has been pain. Unfortunately, we all know and believe that the team finishing in P1 has a massive advantage that, in fairness, they've been able to get out of their compressor ratio. Yet to be seen if this is still the case when the season does begin, as Ferrari, Audi, Honda and Red Bull are all grassing on Toto's team to the FIA. There's no way Hamilton is as bad this season, surely, and Charlie Leclerc needs some hope after all of the misery he's endured during his time at Maranello. We're all left feeling more optimistic with Ferrari's 2026 chances after seeing them in Barcelona and hearing what the drivers had to say about the car, as well as how the power unit is performing. But will this be another false dawn? Ferrari and United go hand in hand in this regard. When you finally believe that maybe, just maybe, we're back where we belong, it comes to a halt and we fall back to reality. Still, P2 and a few race wins for both drivers, Hamilton to win Silverstone for the 10th time and Leclerc to finish P1 in Monaco for the 2nd time of his career. After their dominance of 8 titles in a row between 2014 and 2021, Mercedes have had to deal with being left in the shadows of the ground effect era, Red Bull and McLaren mopping up the championships and race wins over the last 4 years. But now, it looks like they could be back to their old winning ways. George Russell is the overwhelming favourite to take the Drivers' Championship, and I agree with that verdict. I think Russell is the best British driver on the grid currently, and I can say that with no bias, as I don't really care for any of them. We've all seen enough and know what he's capable of producing. In the other side of the Petronas garage, we've got Kimi Jr. Up and down season last year, but he's a kid and it was his first year racing in F1 at a big team who expect the best from their drivers. He had a terrible summer during the middle of the 2025 calendar, but started out promising and recency bias may be at play, but ended the season with a lot of plaudits as well. No reason why I can't see Antonelli doing a great job this year. Might have a few crashes because of the new regs and his driving style is aggressive, I'm a fan. How can you not be of someone who will try to go for an overtake at any opportunity? Again, P1 for Mercedes. I know it's not some outrageous prediction. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the first video I posted on this channel. I'm looking forward to making more F1 content, more predictions, ranking videos, news updates, and much more. I'm planning on making a livery ranking list next, but if there's anything that anyone else would like me to make a video on, please let me know and comment below your 2026 F1 predictions.